And finally, for 17D, we have a sort of unusual and complex expression to factor. Well, what happens when we let x equal to a minus 2? That means x squared equals to a minus 2 squared, and x to the power of 4 equals to a minus 2 to the power of 4. Right, so this equals to then 12 bracket, well, a minus 2 was x, right? So this is actually x to the power of 4. And this is plus 52. This is actually x squared, and that's minus 40. So I think we can all agree that this is a lot more simpler to deal with than this. But this is still complicated. It's a degree 4 polynomial. We don't know how to deal with degree 4 polynomials. But what happens when we let y equal to x squared? That means y squared equals to x to the power of 4. So we're doing a substitution within another substitution. So when we do that, we get 12 y squared plus 52 y minus 40. Now we can finally deal with this. We know how to deal with degree 2 polynomials. So we can factor and substitute all of this back and get our answer. Well, first look at the coefficients. We can factor out of 4. And we get 3y squared. 4 goes into 52 how many times? It's 13, right? So that's plus 13y, and then 4 goes into minus 40, minus 10 times, so that's minus 10. Now let's factor. We know that we need two numbers whose sum is 13 and whose product is 3 times minus 10, which equals to minus 30. So we need to use our decomposition method because our coefficient is not 1. So what are the two numbers? Well, we know that 15 times minus 2 equals to minus 30, right? And 15 minus 2 equals to 13. So that means our two numbers are 15 and minus 2 because it works for both of these two cases. So when we factor, we break this down to two terms, so 3y squared plus 15y minus 2y minus 10. Let's factor in groups. So these two and these two. So these two, let's factor out of 3y, and we're left with a y. And 3y goes into 15y 5 times, so that's plus 5. Here, factor out of minus 2, and we're left with y plus 5 as well. So since these two are the same, we can factor out of y plus 5. And what are we left with? 3y minus 2, right? But what was y? Y was x squared, so let's plug that back in. We have x squared plus 5 and 3x squared minus 2. But we're not done yet. What was x squared? X squared was a minus 2 squared. So that means that 4 brackets a minus 2 squared plus 5. And then here is 3a minus 2 squared minus 2. Now we need to unfortunately expand this out. So we have bracket 4. So we have to expand this out. So we have a minus 2 times a minus 2 plus 5. And here the same thing. 3 bracket a minus 2 times a minus 2. Alright. Let's expand this one by one. So distribute the a into this bracket and we get a squared minus 2a. Now distribute this minus 2 into this bracket and we get minus 2a plus 4. And that's added to 5. Well, here we have the same thing, but we just did it right here. So let's write this right here. A squared minus 2a plus 4. And then the minus 2. Alright, so we're running out of space, so let's write our answer here and continue from here. So 4 bracket, we know let's collect like terms. So a squared is the only term here. Minus 2a is minus 4a. And then 4 plus 5 is 9. And from here, we need to expand the 3. But before we expand the 3, what do you know? We could collect like terms here. That's a squared minus 4a plus 4. And then we have that minus 2. So let's move this a little to the left. And we have this minus 2 right here. Right, so let's continue Simplifying, a squared minus 4a plus 9. And here expand the 3, and we get 3a squared minus 12a plus 12 minus 2. Make sure you hit every term, so all 3 terms in this has to be hit by the 3. Now finally, we can collect like terms. So leave this be. And here, 3a squared is alone, minus 12a is alone, and what do you know is 12 minus 2, which equals 10. So that's plus 10, which is our final answer.